Well, the second annual Kazi Career Expo returns to Soweto this month. It's billed as the largest township career and education expo in the country and is expected to attract thousands of visitors to the Bapedi Hall in Meadowlands in Soweto. Now, the expo will help township scholars and job seekers from Soweto to find bursaries and jobs. Well, joining us now in studio is founder of the Kazi Career Expo, Stembiso Ndlovu. A very good morning to you. It's rather France, is that right? France Michel, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Tell us a little bit about this. You've got youngsters who are wanting to come and look for jobs. Tell us a little bit about it.
Certainly. So, I mean, a lot of our kids in the townships, particularly across the country, those who go to Quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools are at a disadvantage when it comes to gaining access to the job market, but are also at a disadvantage when it comes to being able to get their hands on learnerships, on bursaries, on internship opportunities within the private sector and within the government institutions. So, I mean, as a young student who grew up in Mleji, in Polokwane, who grew up in Tembisa and then later went to a multiracial school, I had an opportunity to actually get access to a bursary in my second year of schooling, and I was struggling unable to pay, for school fees and all of that. And then 4 years later into business, one decided, you know what, it's about time we create a platform that can be able to assist the young kids who are still stuck in the same position that we were in 7, 8, 10 years ago, you know what I mean? And ultimately last year, we launched a platform that attracted over, 4,200 students across 3 different provinces. So we did KZN in Umlazi, in the pits of Umlazi. We did Tembisa, we did Soweto, and we did something in the northwest.
Franz, you've touched on it a little bit, but talk to me about where the idea sort of started and why you feel so passionate and why you think it's so important for platforms like this.
Well, it started basically from a need that I had when I was in high school. Firstly, when I was in school, I didn't have access to opportunities such as these. And particularly when I was still in a township school, there wasn't a lot of career guidance and being shown whatever other opportunities are there, from the traditional norms of mom is a nurse, auntie is a doctor, or mom is a teacher and so forth. So when I was in my first year of university and struggling to pay for fees while I was working at the same time, I actually attended an open day at a university, literally went there with my school marks, put my name on a piece of paper, dropped it in a hat, and for the sake of being a good A student at the time, I managed to get myself a bursary, and being in business and realizing that we're actually trading with clients from a communications point of view that actually have access to these opportunities, but they're not marketing them to the relevant, target market. They take these things to Sandton, but a child who lives in Kwamashu, how much money do they even have to catch a taxi to even go to Sandton? A lot of these things are being put on different websites, but how much data does a child who, goes to a school where he doesn't even have a computer, how much data does he have to even go on the internet and look for information? So the information is out there and it's hanging in the clouds and people are not able to get their hands on it. So we're basically bridging that gap to say, let's create platforms that firstly can encourage our kids at a young early stage to be broad-minded about what's available out there, but also let's teach them to be entrepreneurial and create opportunities of business within their immediate surroundings. So I always say, don't look at poverty with a charitable eye. Look at it with a sense of how can, as a social entrepreneur, bring change to this cause and basically create a sustainable solution that will last beyond your existence.
Definitely.
Are there opportunities out there? I mean, are there jobs out there that people who can go to this expo can leave feeling positive about their futures?
Certainly, there's plenty of jobs. So I mean, in the job market, a lot of the times when we employ people, we always look at what skills do you have. And one analogy I was making the other day is, in the world of technology, nobody wants to hire anyone who cannot perform better than an app. So you need to be able to skill yourself up enough to be able to be employable. So the thing with the young students these days and young kids is that they firstly a bit lazy when in terms of going out and physically being aggressive in the job market and say, allow me to take up a seat in your company and I'll be able to show what I can do. And The opportunities are out there. When we last year alone, when we approached one of the companies, Rotec and Roshcon, they said to us, listen, we have 500 different internships that we need to actually dish out there, and we really don't have an aggressive strategy to go out into the township because it's going to cost them a heck of a lot of money. So instantly they jumped on board and said, assist us in being able to take these things into the hands of the people. So the job opportunities and the bursaries really are out there.
Frans, talk to us about the actual expo itself. I mean, who can attend? How do people attend? And once you get there, what can you expect?
So the expo is a free expo for all learners across the country. At this stage, we're doing Soweto, we're doing Rustenburg, and we're doing Umlazi. When you get to the expo, firstly, you're welcomed by a friendly staff, young individuals who are not intimidating, who speak the same language as you. They're just more exposed to other opportunities. And we then have different FET colleges, we've got different universities, but also what we're always advocating is that we keep on saying kids need to go to school and they need to go to university, but we don't have the output strategy of saying, what do they do post that? What are they gearing up to do post, not being able to take their matric certificate and go into the job market? So you get access to the different opportunities of saying, should you not be an individual who actually wants to further education at university, what other opportunities are available immediately after matric? So what institutions are there? So we bring, different funders on the table who can be able to assist you also with funding. We bring different innovators and we say to them, how can you teach this young person to take the skills and turn it into a business? Because we're very entrepreneurial. And then we then have different institutions then obviously that bring your different bursaries. We've got your ESCOMs, we've got your APSAs, we've got your NYDAs, we've got your departments of agriculture. So it's a mixed bag of different parastatals, government institutions, private companies and local businesses basically that are gearing up to empower the youth of South Africa.
I'll be honest with you, when I left matric, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I hacked around for a year trying to decide what I wanted to do. What would your message be to, is your target market the matriculants leaving school, possibly not knowing what they wanted to do, possibly not knowing what opportunities are out there? I mean, is that your target market?
So at the main, yes, the matrics would be the first point of contact, but we're looking at from grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 to basically say to these kids also, don't look at it for a bursary opportunity only when you get to matric, because by then it's your marks that actually get you the bursary, not how much you're hustling. So from grade 9, we encourage them to say, in the next few years, the very same institution that you are seeing today face to face will still be available to give you the opportunity. So understand at an early stage what it's going to take for you to get into a particular organization for them to fund you. So we look at grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. We look at unemployed youth within the townships. We look at FET graduates and university graduates, and we then bus these students from the different institutions into the expo so that we're not inundated with like a whole lot of individuals that are basically just there to loiter around and waste time. We really go for the dedicated students that really need this information and really want to be there. And ultimately, it becomes a mixed bag of different individuals.
Just quickly, Frans, because we are running out of time. Earlier you spoke about, opportunities being there, but the issue is really access and people getting to those opportunities. We are seeing what's being called #fees must fall reloaded. Students are still unhappy with funding issues. As someone who's fighting this fight, what is your view?
My view regarding the fees must fall issue is that I think it's a tough one, hey. I was very indifferent regarding the whole issue, but I think government can obviously do more regarding the fact of giving students accessibility to what the private sector has to offer. So I think it's just a matter of both parties, private and government, sitting on one table and finding common ground. At this stage, I'll still continue to say fees need to fall reloaded, and I'll stand united with the students, because I had a challenge of paying for my own university fees, and I had to work and take and do part-time schooling immediately after leaving matric. Now, as an 18-year-old who's never been exposed to a job market, and you're struggling because the social pressures also say you need to be in university, but we're trying to change that narrative also, to say university is not the end and be all of life. You don't need to be in university for you to make it. You know what I mean? You don't need to be in university for you to make money. So let's think broadly of what we can do to edutain and educate ourselves as young individuals, so that by the time we actually leave the matric classroom, our biggest focus is not just university, and we've got other opportunities. But I'll still advocate and say we need the university graduates. We need a mixed bag of skill sets, from laborers to professionals, and the universities do play a crucial role within the system.
Definitely.
Good man, good man. That's today, and it starts tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah, it starts
17th and 18th of August, Soweto, at the Bapedi Hall in Meadowlands, Zone 3. If you're out there, you're a bit confused as to what you want to do, you're sort of heading towards your high school, the end of your high school career, get down to the Kasi Career Expo there in Meadowlands, Zone 3, chatting to Frans Michel there. He is the founder of that expo. What a great initiative it is,
Yeah.
especially at this time of the year as we head towards the end of the academic year.